Life moves fast, and most people spend it looking everywhere but within. They chase approval, get lost in noise, and forget that their real power starts with one simple thing: focusing on themselves. This audiobook is not about selfishness, it's about self-mastery. It's about learning to build discipline, protect your time, control your emotions, and grow into the strongest version of yourself. Every chapter in this journey is built to help you take back control of your mind, your habits, and your future. You'll learn how to stop waiting for motivation and start creating momentum. You'll see how small, consistent actions can change the entire direction of your life. You'll understand why peace is more valuable than popularity, and why your growth must always come before anyone's approval. This isn't another motivational talk filled with empty promises. It's a practical guide, a real conversation about building focus, confidence, and strength that lasts. As you listen, you'll start to feel more centered. You'll begin to recognize the habits that drain your energy and the mindset that limits your progress. Most importantly, you'll discover that you already have everything you need to design the life you want. You just have to stop giving your power away. So, if you're tired of distractions, tired of starting over, and ready to become consistent, this is where it begins. This is your reminder that your focus is your superpower, and when you learn how to use it, nothing can stop you. Keep listening until the end, because by the time you finish, you'll no longer be chasing change, you'll be living it. Chapter 1. Focus fully on your own growth and daily improvement. Focus is the foundation of every kind of growth. When your attention is scattered across people, problems, and distractions, your energy drains away, and your progress slows to almost nothing. But when your focus turns inward toward your own development, your own standards, and your own purpose, life begins to align. Every moment becomes an investment, and every small improvement compounds into something extraordinary. Focusing on yourself is not selfish, it is an act of self-respect. It means you understand that before you can fix the world, you must strengthen the person who faces it every day. The first step toward real change begins with awareness. Most people move through their lives reacting to everything around them. They respond to demands, noise, messages, opinions, and endless expectations from others. They spend hours thinking about how to please others, prove themselves, or fit in. But growth does not happen in that mental state. Growth begins when you pause and realize that the energy you give away so freely could be the same energy that builds your future. When you start directing your focus toward your own improvement, your health, mindset, knowledge, and daily habits, you begin to reclaim control of your life. You stop drifting, and you start designing. Focusing on your growth is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming intentional. You decide how to use your time, how to respond to challenges, and how to shape your character. Each day gives you new chances to refine who you are. Some people waste those chances by staying busy without progress. They chase validation, gossip, and comfort, and by the end of the day, they have done a lot but moved nowhere. Others use those same 24 hours differently. They learn something new, challenge a weakness, or build a routine that moves them forward. The difference lies in focus. Every person who ever achieved greatness began with this mindset. They learned to guard their attention as their most valuable resource. You may not control what happens around you, but you control where your mind goes. If you want growth, your focus must become your tool. When you focus on yourself, you begin to notice patterns: how your thoughts affect your emotions, how your routines shape your energy, and how your choices influence your future. You become more conscious, and consciousness is the start of mastery. Real improvement does not happen through sudden transformation. It comes through small, deliberate steps repeated over time. Each day offers opportunities to strengthen your discipline, expand your knowledge, and refine your habits. For example, You could begin by dedicating the first hour of every morning to something that develops you. It might be reading a few pages of a meaningful book, writing your thoughts to build clarity, or doing something physical to strengthen your body. The action itself is less important than the commitment. What matters is that you treat your personal development as a daily responsibility, not an occasional interest. Many people talk about changing their lives, but few take consistent action because they wait for motivation. Motivation is unstable. It fades as soon as challenges appear. What keeps you growing is not motivation, it is commitment. When you commit to focusing on yourself every day, you stop waiting for the right mood or the right time. You act because you understand that each small effort builds something greater. Consistency becomes your silent power. It does not make noise, but it builds strength that cannot be faked. When you start focusing on your own growth, you might notice resistance. Some people around you may not understand. They may accuse you of being distant, self-centered, or too serious. But their opinions are not your responsibility. Every person has a different level of awareness. Some people are more comfortable when you stay the same because your growth challenges their comfort. You must accept that not everyone will celebrate your improvement. That is part of the journey. Growth often requires solitude. It means learning to stand alone while keeping your mind steady and your heart focused. Personal development is not a trend. It is a lifelong practice. It involves daily reflection, asking yourself hard questions such as, did I use my time well today? Did I learn something new? Did I act with discipline when it was hard? These questions keep you honest. They remove the illusions and force you to see where you are wasting potential. Real growth requires honesty because you cannot improve what you are unwilling to face. One of the greatest ways to accelerate your growth is to observe your own thoughts. The mind constantly produces opinions, fears, and excuses. When you are unaware, those thoughts control you. But when you start noticing them, you take back authority. For example, when you feel resistance toward doing something productive, pause and ask why. Usually, the mind creates discomfort because it prefers the familiar. But improvement demands that you do the uncomfortable things. Focusing on yourself means training your mind to act according to your goals, not your moods. Another key element of daily improvement is protecting your energy. Every day, you interact with people, information, and situations that can either build you up or drain you. When you focus on yourself, you learn to filter what you allow into your life. You begin to choose your environment intentionally. You spend more time with people who encourage your growth, consume content that educates you, and create spaces that support peace and focus. Protecting your environment is not about isolation, it is about direction. You choose where your energy goes, and that choice determines your results. Discipline plays a huge role in this process. Many people admire discipline in others but underestimate how simple it actually is. Discipline is not about being hard on yourself. It is about keeping your promises to yourself. When you say you will wake up early, you do it. When you decide to learn a new skill, you stay consistent. Each time you follow through, your self-respect increases. Each time you break your word and your confidence weakens. The more you focus on keeping your commitments, the more power you gain. Self-discipline is the fuel for self-growth. There will be days when focusing on yourself feels difficult. You might get discouraged when results are slow or when life becomes chaotic. In those moments, remind yourself that improvement is not always visible immediately. Just because you cannot see progress does not mean it is not happening. Growth often happens beneath the surface. Every time you choose effort over comfort, you are strengthening your foundation. It may take weeks or months before you notice the change, but when it appears, it stays. Real transformation is permanent because it comes from repeated action, not sudden inspiration. It is also important to remember that focusing on yourself does not mean ignoring others. It means becoming the best version of yourself so you can contribute more meaningfully. When you are centered, disciplined, and emotionally balanced, you handle relationships, work, and challenges better. You stop depending on others for validation or happiness. Instead, you bring value wherever you go, because your inner world is stable. Self-focus creates self-reliance, and self-reliance leads to strength that cannot be easily shaken. To make your focus practical, you can start by creating a simple structure for your day. Dedicate specific time blocks for personal growth activities. It could be learning, exercising, reflecting, or planning. Keep it realistic so you can sustain it. The goal is not perfection. It is consistency. Even 20 minutes of focused improvement daily can change your direction over time. The human brain thrives on repetition. The more you repeat constructive behaviors, the more natural they become. Eventually, discipline feels normal, and distractions lose their power. In this journey, patience is crucial. Many people quit because they expect results too soon. They want immediate transformation without enduring the process. But patience separates dreamers from achievers. Growth happens slowly because it rewires how you think and act. It teaches endurance. Each time you persist, you prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. Over time, your mindset becomes resilient, your focus sharpens, and your confidence grows. The key is to stay consistent even when it feels like nothing is changing. Focusing on your growth also means forgiving yourself for past mistakes. Everyone has made poor choices, wasted time, or missed opportunities. But regret keeps you stuck in the past. The purpose of awareness is not to punish yourself, it is to learn. When you know better, you can do better. Every day is a new chance to start again. Each sunrise is a reminder that the past cannot define you unless you keep reliving it. Forgive yourself, not because you deserve it by default, but because you need your energy for growth, not guilt. Your focus is like a lens that shapes your life. When it is directed outward, you get lost in comparison. You measure your progress against others and feel inadequate. But when your focus turns inward, you realize that growth is personal. Your journey is yours alone. Everyone is walking their own path, facing their own challenges. The moment you stop comparing, you free yourself from invisible pressure. You can move at your own pace, celebrate small victories, and find peace in progress. Growth is not glamorous. It often happens in quiet, repetitive moments. It looks like choosing to read instead of scrolling on your phone. It feels like waking up early when you want to sleep longer. It means working on your goals even when no one notices. These small decisions shape your destiny. They may seem insignificant today, but each one builds your character. Over time, these choices create the person you admire. That is why focus matters. It turns intentions into reality. You can think of every day as a new opportunity to raise your standards. Ask yourself, what can I do today that improves me slightly? It might be managing your thoughts better, speaking with more patience, or spending your time more wisely. Improvement is not about massive leaps, it is about steady evolution. The person you become depends on the choices you repeat. When you focus on yourself, you make those choices consciously instead of leaving them to habit or impulse. Staying focused also requires removing what does not serve your growth. Some habits, relationships, and environments slow you down. It takes courage to step away from them, but doing so frees you. You cannot grow in the same place that keeps you small. Focusing on yourself means choosing peace over chaos, progress over comfort, and purpose over approval. It is about simplifying your life so your energy flows toward what matters. There will always be noise around you, opinions, trends, and expectations, but none of it can define you unless you allow it to. You owe it to yourself to take ownership of your life. No one else will do it for you. No one else can give you the discipline, focus, or clarity that you build through effort. Every moment you spend developing yourself increases your worth. It prepares you for opportunities that others are not ready for. The more you invest in your growth, the more capable you become of handling success when it arrives. At some point, focusing on yourself becomes natural. It no longer feels forced because it aligns with who you are becoming. You wake up with purpose, work with intention, and rest with peace. Your standards rise, and your self-respect grows. You start noticing that you need less approval from others. You no longer chase validation because you have built confidence from results, not words. That quiet confidence becomes your superpower. It allows you to walk into any situation with calm assurance. Life rewards those who take responsibility for their growth. When you focus on improving yourself, everything else begins to improve too. Your relationships become healthier because you bring stability instead of dependency. Your career improves because you approach challenges with discipline and clarity. Your health improves because you value your body as a tool for success. Every area of life responds when you evolve internally. In the end, focusing on yourself is the most powerful decision you can make. It is not about becoming better than anyone else. It is about becoming better than you were yesterday. It is about using each day as a chance to build strength, wisdom, and peace. You will stumble, you will struggle, and you will question the process, but if you stay committed, you will rise. You will look back and see how far you have come, not because luck favored you, but because focus shaped you. Growth is not something you find, it is something you build. Each moment you spend developing yourself adds to that construction. Focus is the blueprint, discipline is the tool, and time is the foundation. Together, they create a version of you that is unstoppable. The world may not notice your quiet progress, but you will feel it in your strength, your clarity, and your calmness. That is what it means to truly focus on yourself, to live each day as proof that self-improvement is the greatest superpower you can ever have. Chapter 2. Build unshakable self-discipline that strengthens your inner power. Discipline is the silent force that separates dreamers from achievers. It is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you do not feel like doing it. It does not rely on mood, comfort, or inspiration. It comes from a deeper commitment, a decision to build strength over time through consistent effort. Many people talk about success as if it is a matter of luck or timing, but in truth, it is built from discipline. Without discipline, goals remain as wishes. With it, you become unstoppable. Discipline begins in the mind before it ever reaches your actions. It starts when you make a promise to yourself and decide that breaking it is no longer an option. The moment you keep your word to yourself, even in small things, your confidence grows. Each time you follow through, you prove to your own mind that you are reliable. That reliability becomes your foundation. The opposite is also true. Each time you abandon your commitments, you weaken your self-trust. Discipline, therefore, is not about perfection. It is about building trust with yourself through consistent action. To build unshakable discipline, you must first accept that feelings cannot be trusted as your guide. Feelings fluctuate, they rise with excitement and fall with fatigue. If you wait to feel ready, you will remain stuck in the waiting phase forever. Discipline takes over where motivation fades. It tells you to get up, move forward, and follow through, no matter the emotional weather. People who rely on motivation get results occasionally. People who rely on discipline build a lifetime of progress. There is a quiet strength that comes from doing the difficult things, even when no one is watching. Waking up early, choosing healthy habits, learning something new, or managing your finances responsibly, all of these require discipline. But over time, these actions build a structure inside you. You stop negotiating with yourself. You no longer give in to excuses or distractions because your standards rise above them. Discipline is not punishment, it is the highest form of self-respect. It is the way you show yourself that your goals matter more than your impulses. You can think of discipline as a muscle that grows stronger with consistent use. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes to stay in control. You do not have to make huge changes overnight. Start small. Keep promises you can realistically fulfill. If you commit to reading for 15 minutes daily, do it without fail. If you commit to exercising 3 times a week, honor that schedule no matter how tired you are. The mind learns through repetition. Every time you follow through, it becomes easier to repeat the behavior. Eventually, discipline becomes part of your identity. It stops being something you do and becomes something you are. A disciplined person lives with clarity. They do not waste energy on indecision because they have already chosen their priorities. They wake up with a plan and act on it instead of drifting through the day. They do not need constant reminders or motivation because they have built inner order. This kind of focus frees you from chaos. You no longer depend on outside structure to keep you in line. You create that structure within yourself. That internal stability is what makes discipline a true superpower. The challenge with discipline is that it requires patience. Results do not appear right away, and that can make the process frustrating. Many people quit because they confuse slow progress with failure. But discipline teaches you to appreciate effort over instant outcomes. It shifts your focus from speed to consistency. When you show up daily, even in small ways, progress becomes inevitable. What matters is not how fast you move, but that you never stop moving. Each disciplined action is like a seed that will eventually grow, even if it takes time. One of the biggest enemies of discipline is distraction. The modern world offers endless ways to lose focus: social media, entertainment, constant notifications, and other people's opinions. These distractions drain your attention, and attention is the fuel of discipline. To build real inner power, you must learn to say no to things that waste your time. You must protect your focus like it is your most valuable possession, because it is. When you control your focus, you control your direction. When you control your direction, your results change. Self-discipline also involves mastering your mind's resistance. The human brain is wired to seek and comfort and avoid discomfort. It will give you every excuse to delay action, telling you that you are tired, that it can wait until tomorrow, that it is too hard. But every time you act in spite of that resistance, you strengthen your inner authority. You begin to see that discomfort is temporary, but regret lasts much longer. When you learn to act beyond feelings, you build mental toughness. That toughness becomes your shield in difficult moments. One powerful way to strengthen discipline is through structure. A clear routine gives your mind fewer opportunities to wander. Plan your day the night before. Write down the tasks that truly matter and decide when you will complete them. This removes the daily friction of decision-making and keeps you focused. When you wake up, you already know your purpose. The goal is not to fill your day with endless activity, but to fill it with meaningful actions that move you closer to your goals. Consistency is the real measure of discipline. Anyone can be focused for a day or a week, but discipline shows its strength over months and years. It is built through repetition, not intensity. You might have days where you feel tired or unmotivated, but showing up anyway is what builds mastery. The small, consistent actions compound into major results. Over time, discipline transforms your life quietly but powerfully. You start achieving things that once seemed impossible simply because you refuse to give up. Many people misunderstand discipline as restriction. They think it limits freedom, but the truth is the opposite. Discipline creates freedom. When you are disciplined, you no longer live at the mercy of impulses or distractions. You control your choices instead of being controlled by them. You can trust yourself to act according to your values and goals. This gives you mental peace. You do not waste energy on regret or guilt because you are doing what needs to be done. That calm confidence is one of the greatest rewards of self-discipline. Building unshakable discipline also requires managing your environment. It is easier to stay consistent when your surroundings support your goals. Keep your space organized, remove unnecessary temptations, and stay close to people who respect your growth. The people you spend time with can either strengthen or weaken your discipline. Choose those who encourage consistency, not those who normalize excuses. A strong environment reduces friction and helps discipline thrive naturally. There will be days when you fail to keep your promises. Discipline does not mean perfection, it means persistence. When you slip, do not waste time on guilt or self-criticism. Recognize the mistake, learn from it, and get back on track immediately. The faster you recover, the stronger your discipline becomes. Over time, your setbacks will lose power because you will stop letting them define you. What defines you is not how many times you fall, but how quickly you stand back up. As discipline becomes part of your nature, your confidence changes. You no longer rely on external validation to feel worthy because you have proof of your strength. You know that you can depend on yourself to follow through. That self-trust radiates into everything you do. It changes how you walk, speak, and make decisions. People sense that stability in you because it cannot be faked. It is the kind of strength that comes only from doing the work every single day. To make discipline sustainable, connect it to purpose. When you know why you are doing something, discipline becomes easier. Purpose turns effort into meaning. If your goal is to improve your life, provide for your family, or reach your potential, remind yourself of that reason whenever your mind resists. The stronger your why, the stronger your willpower. Discipline loses its heaviness when it is rooted in something that matters deeply. Eventually, self-discipline becomes your natural state. You stop needing to push yourself so hard because discipline turns into habit. You begin to enjoy the process of order and consistency. You start valuing the peace that comes from self-control more than the momentary pleasure of laziness or distraction. Life becomes simpler because you live according to principles instead of impulses. The truth is, discipline is the purest form of power. It allows you to stay steady when others quit. It gives you the strength to keep working when results are invisible. It turns chaos into clarity and effort into achievement. When you master discipline, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, there is nothing in life that can truly defeat you. Self-discipline is not a gift. It is a choice renewed every day. You build it by showing up, following through, and believing that your actions today are shaping a stronger version of you tomorrow. The world will always offer distractions and excuses, but discipline gives you the strength to stay loyal to your goals. That loyalty to your purpose becomes your true inner power, the quiet, unshakable strength that separates those who try from those who succeed. Chapter 3. Protect your time fiercely and value your personal peace. Time is the one resource that can never be replaced. Once it is gone forever. Money can be earned again, opportunities can return, but time only moves forward. Every minute you give away to meaningless things is a piece of your life that will never come back. That is why protecting your time is not just about productivity, it is about self-respect. It means you understand the true value of your existence and refuse to waste it on what does not contribute to your growth, your peace, or your purpose. Most people treat their time as if it were endless. They say yes to every request, spend hours on distractions, and live reacting to what others demand. They wake up late, rush through their day, and end it feeling drained but unfulfilled. They wonder why they never feel calm or focused, yet they hand their hours away carelessly. When you start valuing your time, you begin to see how much of life is wasted on things that don't matter. Protecting your time is not selfish, it is intelligent. You are guarding the foundation of your potential. To protect your time fiercely, you must first know what deserves it. Not everything is worthy of your attention. Some conversations lead nowhere. Some relationships take more than they give, and some tasks add no real value to your life. Learn to separate what is essential from what is noise. When you understand what truly matters to your growth and well-being, it becomes easier to say no. Many people avoid saying no because they fear disappointing others, but every time you say yes to something meaningless, you are saying no to something important. Your future depends on the choices you make with your hours today. Personal peace is built from the quality of how you use your time. When your days are full of unnecessary stress, constant interruptions, and emotional chaos, peace becomes impossible. But when you start managing your time intentionally, life becomes lighter. You move through your day with clarity instead of urgency. You finish what matters without feeling overwhelmed. Protecting your time creates space for stillness, reflection, and rest, things that most people overlook but are essential for a calm mind. Peace does not appear by accident. It is designed through disciplined choices. There will always be demands pulling at your attention. The world thrives on distraction. Every app, every platform, every advertisement is designed to keep your mind busy. But your peace lives in the moments you take back control. It starts when you silence unnecessary noise, when you choose to disconnect from constant updates and give your mind time to breathe. Every break you take from external chaos strengthens your mental clarity. The more space you create for silence, the more you begin to hear your own thoughts. That awareness is where peace grows. People often underestimate how much their environment affects their use of time. When you surround yourself with people who constantly complain, gossip, or waste time, you start absorbing their habits. Your energy drains, and your focus weakens. Protecting your time means being selective about who has access to you. Not everyone deserves your energy. Choose people who bring value, who encourage growth, and who respect boundaries. A peaceful life is not built by being around everyone, it is built by being around the right ones. Another powerful way to protect your time is through boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are clear guidelines that define how you allow others to treat you. When you set boundaries, you are not rejecting people, you are protecting your priorities. If you constantly let others interrupt you, change your plans, or take advantage of your availability, you will never have time for your own goals. Boundaries may make some people uncomfortable, but they also reveal who truly respects you. The people who value you will understand that your time is sacred. Many people waste hours every day on small distractions that feel harmless but add up to massive losses. Scrolling endlessly, checking messages every few minutes, or engaging in meaningless debates, all of these drain your time in ways that seem invisible. To regain control, start tracking where your hours go. You will be shocked by how much time slips away unnoticed. Once you see it clearly, you can begin replacing those wasted minutes with intentional actions, reading, exercising, learning, or simply resting without guilt. Awareness is the first step toward freedom. Peace is not found in doing nothing, it is found in doing the right things at the right time. A peaceful mind comes from order, not chaos. When you plan your day, prioritize your goals, and remove what is unnecessary, your thoughts settle naturally. You no longer feel rushed or behind, because everything has its place. Order brings peace, and discipline sustains it. When you protect your schedule, you protect your mind. It is also important to learn how to disconnect emotionally from things that are outside your control. Many people lose their peace not because of what happens, but because of how much they let it consume their thoughts. You cannot control other people's opinions, behaviors, or emotions, but you can control how much time you spend reacting to them. Each time you walk away from negativity, you are protecting your peace. Each time you choose silence over unnecessary argument, you are protecting your energy. You do not have to attend every conflict you are invited to. Walking away is not weakness, it is wisdom. Time and peace are deeply connected. When your time is misused, your peace disappears. When your peace is lost, you waste even more time trying to restore it. Breaking this cycle requires self-awareness. You must learn to recognize when you are doing too much, when you are mentally exhausted, and when you need to rest. Productivity is not about doing everything. It is about doing what truly matters and doing it well. A rested mind performs better than a restless one. Protecting your peace allows you to use your time wisely and efficiently. In every stage of life, you will face situations that test your boundaries. People will demand your time, tasks will pile up, and chaos will try to pull you in. The key is to remain grounded. You cannot control how busy the world becomes, but you can control how you move within it. A calm mind is a powerful tool. It helps you think clearly, make better decisions, and act with purpose. When you value your peace, you stop reacting impulsively and start living intentionally. Creating time for yourself each day is one of the most important habits you can build. Even 10 quiet minutes of reflection can reset your mind. During that time, disconnect from everything, no screens, no noise, no demands, just you and your thoughts. These moments of solitude are not wasted. They are where clarity is born. A peaceful mind cannot grow in constant noise. Give yourself time to breathe, to think, and to reconnect with what truly matters. Protecting your time also means aligning your actions with your priorities. Many people say they want growth, peace, and success, yet they spend most of their day on things that bring none of those. You must become honest about what deserves your energy. Ask yourself daily, does this move me forward or keep me stuck? If it does not serve your goals, peace, or purpose, it does not deserve your time. Life becomes simpler when you live by this principle. Peace requires consistency. It cannot exist in a life that is always chaotic or reactive. The more structure and clarity you create, the more calm you feel. This is why it is crucial to protect your mornings and evenings. How you start and end your day determines your overall balance. Begin with stillness, end with reflection. Protect those hours as sacred. They recharge your spirit and prepare you to face the world with calm strength. Some people will misunderstand your decision to protect your time. They may think you are distant, cold, or unavailable. But your responsibility is not to be constantly accessible. It is to stay healthy, centered, and focused. You cannot pour from an empty cup. When you take care of your peace, you become more patient, productive, and kind. You give your best, not out of pressure, but out of balance. Protecting your time is not about avoiding people, it is about showing up as your best self when it truly matters. Over time, you will notice that valuing your peace changes the quality of your life. You stop chasing unnecessary approval, you stop reacting to every problem, and you start moving with quiet confidence. The noise of the world fades, and your focus sharpens. You realize that true peace is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Without it, even success feels empty. With it, even simple moments feel meaningful. Every minute you protect becomes a building block for a better life. Each decision to say no to distraction, drama, or negativity strengthens your peace. You begin to live by your own rhythm instead of the chaos around you. The reward is a life that feels lighter, calmer, and deeply fulfilling. That is the ultimate power of protecting your time. It gives you control over your days and serenity within your mind. When you master both, you no longer chase balance, you live in it. Chapter 4. Take control of your emotions and guide your own reactions. Emotions are powerful. They shape how you see the world, how you make decisions, and how you respond to everything around you. When you lose control of them, life feels chaotic. But when you learn to guide them, everything begins to change. You start living from a place of strength instead of reaction. You begin to respond instead of explode, to think instead of panic, and to stay calm even when the world around you feels unstable. Taking control of your emotions is not about suppressing how you feel. It is about understanding your feelings deeply and choosing how to act on them with wisdom instead of impulse. Every emotion you experience is a signal. Anger, sadness, anxiety, joy, all of them have a purpose. They tell you something about what matters to you. But most people never learn how to read these signals. Instead, they allow emotions to dominate their behavior. They yell when they're frustrated, withdraw when they're hurt, and give up when they're afraid. These reactions become habits, and those habits shape the quality of their lives. Emotional control begins when you realize that feelings are information, not commands. You can feel angry without acting in anger. You can feel fear without running away. You can feel sadness without drowning in it. That awareness is where power begins. The first step toward mastering emotions is learning to pause. Between what happens to you and how you react, there is always a small space. Most people move through that space too quickly. They react without thinking. But if you can slow that moment down, even for a few seconds, you give yourself the chance to choose. In that small gap lies your freedom. You can choose patience over anger, calm over panic, and understanding over pride. Every time you pause before reacting, you strengthen your emotional intelligence. Emotional control is built through awareness, not suppression. Pushing your feelings away only makes them grow stronger beneath the surface. Instead of ignoring them, name them. When you feel frustrated, say to yourself, "I'm feeling frustration." When you feel anxious, acknowledge it clearly. The simple act of naming your emotions separates you from them. You stop being consumed by the feeling and start observing it from the outside. That separation gives you clarity. You realize that emotions come and go, they are not permanent, and they do not define you. Another key to guiding your emotions is understanding your triggers. Everyone has specific situations or words that set off intense reactions. It could be criticism, disrespect, or failure. When you know your triggers, you can prepare for them. You can remind yourself not to react automatically. You can take a breath, step back, and evaluate the situation logically. You might not be able to control what others do, but you can always control how you interpret it. Sometimes, what feels like an attack is just a misunderstanding. Sometimes, what feels like rejection is simply timing. The more you understand your triggers, the easier it becomes to manage your responses. Calmness is not a lack of emotion, it is emotional strength. It means that no matter what happens, you remain steady. You can face anger without becoming angry, and you can face chaos without losing your peace. Calm. People are not born that way. They are trained through self-awareness and practice. You build calmness by staying grounded in the present moment. Most emotional suffering comes from living in the past or fearing the future. But right now, in this exact moment, you are safe. This truth brings perspective. The more you stay present, the less control your emotions have over you. Your emotions follow your thoughts. What you think consistently shapes how you feel. If you allow negative thoughts to loop endlessly, your emotions will mirror that negativity. That is why mastering your emotions requires mastering your inner dialogue. Pay attention to the stories you tell yourself. Do you assume the worst in people? Do you exaggerate problems in your mind? Challenge those thoughts before they grow into emotions that control you. Replace destructive thoughts with constructive ones. Remind yourself of facts instead of assumptions. Over time, your mind will learn to react with reason instead of and fear. Guiding your emotions also means giving yourself permission to feel without judgment. Too often, people label emotions as good or bad. Happiness and excitement are seen as good, while anger and sadness are seen as bad. But all emotions are part of the human experience. The goal is not to eliminate them, it is to manage them wisely. Allow yourself to feel what you feel, but do not let those feelings decide your behavior. You can honor your emotions while staying in control. That balance builds maturity and strength. In daily life, emotional control shows up in small moments. It's the ability to stay composed when someone disrespects you, to remain patient when plans fall apart, or to think clearly when faced with pressure. These are the moments that test who you really are. Anyone can stay calm when life is easy. Strength is shown in difficulty. When you maintain your composure under pressure, you gain the respect of others and the trust of yourself. You prove that your peace cannot be taken by anyone else's actions. Your body plays a role in emotional control as well. Emotions are physical experiences. They affect your breathing, posture, and heartbeat. When you feel overwhelmed, focus on your breath. Slow, deep breathing tells your body that you are safe. It interrupts the fight or flight response and allows your mind to think clearly again. Exercise, sleep, and nutrition also impact your emotional stability. A tired, unhealthy body cannot support a calm mind. Taking care of yourself physically is one of the best ways to support emotional balance. Another part of emotional mastery is letting go of what you cannot control. Many emotional struggles come from trying to change things that are beyond your reach, other people's actions, opinions, or choices. This constant need for control creates frustration and stress. Peace begins when you accept that your power lies only in your response. You cannot control how others treat you, but you can control how you interpret their behavior and how you move forward. Detachment from the uncontrollable gives you strength. It frees you from wasting energy on what doesn't serve your well-being. Taking control of your emotions also involves forgiveness. Holding on to anger or resentment poisons your peace. When you refuse to forgive, you keep the pain alive inside you. Forgiveness is not approval of what happened, it is the release of emotional weight. It's choosing your peace over your pride. When you forgive, you are not saying the other person was right. You are saying you are done carrying the burden. This simple act can restore emotional freedom and create space for healing. When you learn to manage your emotions, your relationships improve dramatically. Communication becomes clearer because you are no longer reacting defensively. You listen more, understand better, and express yourself calmly. People trust you because they know you will not lose control or explode in anger. Emotional maturity attracts respect, and respect strengthens connections. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to practice patience, empathy, and understanding. Self-control also improves decision-making. Emotions can cloud judgment and lead to impulsive choices that create long-term problems. When you learn to pause and think before acting, your decisions become wiser. You evaluate situations from logic rather than impulse. You weigh outcomes instead of reacting to temporary feelings. This level of clarity saves you from regret and strengthens your sense of direction. There will always be moments when emotions test you. You will face disappointment, loss, and unexpected challenges. The goal is not to avoid these moments, but to navigate them with strength. You can feel the pain without letting it break you. You can feel fear without letting it stop you. Emotional control is not about becoming emotionless. It is about staying balanced when life is unpredictable. You remain centered because you know that emotions are waves. They rise, peak, and fade. What remains constant is your ability to steer through them. Over time, as you practice emotional awareness and restraint, you begin to notice changes within yourself. You no longer react instantly to everything. You begin to pause, breathe, and think. You start observing your emotions instead of drowning in them. This shift creates a deep sense of stability. You begin to trust yourself more because you know you can handle whatever comes your way. You stop fearing emotions because they no longer control you, they follow your guidance. The ultimate goal is to live in harmony with your emotions. They become your allies instead of your enemies. Anger becomes a signal to set boundaries, fear becomes a reminder to prepare, and sadness becomes a teacher of compassion. When you understand this, you stop fighting your emotions and start working with them. You realize that emotional control is not about perfection. It's about awareness, choice, and strength. To take control of your emotions is to take control of your life. When you can stay centered in chaos, you become unshakable. You think with clarity, act with intention, and move through the world with calm confidence. Your peace becomes your protection, and your discipline becomes your strength. No matter what happens, you remain in control, not because life is easy, but because you have learned to guide your own reactions. That is true emotional power, the ability to feel deeply, think clearly, and act wisely. Chapter 5. Invest daily in learning skills that grow your success. Success is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong process of growth and refinement. Every person who has achieved mastery in any area understands that learning never stops. The world changes constantly, and the people who adapt fastest are the ones who invest in learning every single day. Knowledge and skill are the real currency of life. They build your confidence, strengthen your independence, and expand your opportunities. If you stop learning, you stop evolving. But when you commit to daily learning, you start to see how growth compounds quietly, turning effort into excellence over time. Every day gives you a chance to become slightly better than you were yesterday. It does not require massive leaps or long hours. What matters is consistency. A few minutes spent learning a useful skill each day adds up to transformation over months and years. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a week and underestimate what they can achieve in a year of steady learning. If you dedicate even a small part of your day to improving your knowledge, your results will multiply. Success belongs to those who are willing to keep learning, while others stay comfortable with what they already know. The key to sustainable growth is curiosity. When you remain curious, you never run out of reasons to learn. Curiosity pushes you to ask questions, seek understanding, and explore new perspectives. It keeps your mind alive. The most successful people in the world, entrepreneurs, leaders, creators, all share this trait. They never assume they know everything. They approach every experience as a lesson and every failure as a classroom. A curious mind can turn any situation, even a setback, into an opportunity to grow stronger. Investing in your learning is not limited to formal education. In fact, real growth often happens outside classrooms. Books, podcasts, courses, conversations with wise people, all of these can teach you something valuable. Every person you meet knows something you don't. Every experience holds a lesson if you pay attention. Learning is not about collecting facts. It's about gaining understanding that you can apply in real life. It's about transforming information into action. That is how learning builds success, not through theory, but through practice. The modern world rewards adaptability. Technology changes, industries evolve, and new challenges appear every day. The only way to stay ahead is to become a lifelong learner. Skills that were valuable a few years ago might already be outdated today. That's why learning must become part of your identity, not just a phase of life. You must see yourself as a student forever. Every new skill you master adds another layer of strength to your foundation. It gives you the confidence to face uncertainty with readiness instead of fear. Daily learning requires discipline and structure. You can't rely on random bursts of motivation. You must schedule time for growth, just like you schedule time for work or rest. It could be 30 minutes in the morning, an hour in the evening, or short learning breaks throughout the day. The amount of time doesn't matter as much as the consistency. Repetition is what turns knowledge into skill. It's not about learning once, it's about learning until it becomes natural. The most valuable skills are the ones that make you more independent and adaptable. Communication, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, financial literacy, time management, and problem solving. These are timeless skills that will serve you in any situation. They are the foundation of success because they empower you to handle challenges effectively. When you invest in learning them, you prepare yourself for every stage of life. You stop depending on luck or circumstances because your abilities create your opportunities. Every new skill you acquire changes how you see the world. It expands your awareness and helps you notice possibilities that were invisible before. For example, learning a new language teaches you patience and understanding of different cultures. Learning to manage money teaches discipline and foresight. Learning a craft or technology teaches focus and creativity. Every skill develops more than just ability, it shapes your mindset. The more you learn, the more capable and confident you become. Success is not about being talented, it's about being consistent. You can have average intelligence but still achieve extraordinary success through steady learning and application. The reason many people stay stuck is not because they lack ability, it's because they stop learning after school. They think education ends with a degree, but real education begins when you start teaching yourself. Self-education is the path to freedom. When you take control of your learning, no one can limit your potential. It's easy to say you want to learn more, but true growth requires focus. You can't learn everything at once. Choose the skills that align with your goals and values. If you want to build financial independence, learn about investing and money management. If you want to lead others, study communication and leadership. If you want to grow personally, learn about psychology and human behavior. Direct your learning toward areas that improve your quality of life and help you move closer to your vision. Learning also requires humility. You must be willing to admit that you don't know everything. Pride blocks progress. When you act as if you already have all the answers, you stop growing. Humility keeps your mind open and receptive. It allows you to learn from anyone, even from people younger, less experienced, or from different walks of life. True learners understand that wisdom can come from anywhere if you are willing to listen. Application is what transforms learning into power. Knowledge alone does not change your life. Action does. Every time you apply what you learn, you turn theory into experience. Reading about discipline means nothing if you don't practice it. Watching tutorials means nothing if you don't experiment with what you see. The more you apply your learning, the more deeply it becomes part of you. Action creates understanding that no book can teach. That is why every day of learning should end with doing. Failure plays a vital role in the learning process. Every mistake carries a lesson that success cannot teach. People who avoid failure also avoid growth. When you try new things, you will make errors, and that is exactly how you improve. The key is to analyze what went wrong, adjust your approach, and try again. Every failure refines your understanding. When you stop seeing mistakes as setbacks and start seeing them as teachers, your learning accelerates. Learning also requires patience. You cannot rush mastery. Every skill takes time to develop, and the beginning often feels frustrating. You might struggle, doubt yourself, or feel that progress is too slow. But if you stay consistent, the process eventually becomes easier. Mastery is not about speed, it's about depth. The people who stay committed through the difficult stages are the ones who reach true excellence. Success comes to those who are willing to stay students longer than others. One of the most effective ways to reinforce learning is by teaching others. When you explain what you know, you deepen your own understanding. Sharing knowledge forces you to clarify your thoughts and identify gaps in your learning. It also multiplies your impact because helping others grow strengthens your own growth. Teaching does not require perfection, it requires willingness. You don't need to know everything, you just need to share what you've learned so far. You can also use reflection as a tool for learning. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to think about what you learned. Ask yourself how you can apply it tomorrow. This small habit creates awareness and keeps your progress intentional. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. Without it, knowledge remains unused and easily forgotten. Learning should also bring enjoyment. It should feel like discovery, not pressure. When you learn something that excites you, your brain absorbs it faster. Choose subjects that ignite your curiosity. Explore areas that make you feel alive. The more joy you find in learning, the longer you will stick with it. Success grows from consistent enthusiasm, not forced effort. In the long run, daily learning changes who you are. It builds confidence, independence, and adaptability. You begin to move through life with quiet strength because you know you can handle whatever comes your way. You are prepared not by luck, but by skill. You stop fearing change because every new challenge becomes an opportunity to learn something valuable. The world belongs to those who keep learning. Every minute you invest in developing your skills brings you closer to your best self. No one can take your knowledge away from you. It becomes part of your identity. When you invest daily in learning, you are not just improving what you can do, you are shaping who you become. That is the greatest return on investment. There is a stronger, wiser, and more capable version of yourself, ready to succeed in any chapter of life. Chapter 6. Eliminate all distractions that slow down your personal progress. Progress demands attention. Every person who has achieved anything meaningful has learned the same truth. Focus determines how far you go. Distractions are the silent thieves of potential. They don't destroy your life suddenly, they do it quietly. 1 minute, one scroll, one unnecessary conversation at a time. If you want to reach your highest level of growth, you must remove everything that divides your attention. Elimination is a skill as valuable as effort. The more you remove what does not matter, the faster you move toward what does. Distractions are not only external, they also exist in your mind. They come in the form of overthinking, worry, comparison, and constant mental noise. When your mind is cluttered, even the simplest task feels heavy. The goal is not to have a perfect environment, but to train your mind to stay present in what you are doing. True focus is the ability to stay centered despite chaos around you. You can't control everything that competes for your attention, but you can control what you give your energy to. Every distraction you eliminate is a piece of freedom regained. The first step toward removing distractions is awareness. You cannot change what you do not recognize. Most people are unaware of how much time they lose every day to meaningless activities. They wake up and reach for their phones before they even open their eyes fully. They scroll, they check, they compare, and by the time they look up, half the morning is gone. To eliminate distractions, you must first see them clearly. Write down everything that consumes your time and attention daily. Seeing it on paper will shock you. Once you know where your time leaks, you can start sealing those gaps. Technology, for all its benefits, is one of the biggest sources of distraction. Notifications, alerts, and endless updates are designed to capture your attention and keep you hooked. Every time you stop what you're doing to check a message or glance at your feed, your brain loses momentum. Studies show it takes several minutes to regain full concentration after an interruption. That means every small distraction costs you more than just seconds. It costs you focus, depth, and flow. The solution is to create boundaries with technology. Turn off non-essential notifications. Schedule specific times to check your phone or email instead of doing it constantly. Treat your focus as something sacred, not something you give away for free. Distractions can also come from people. Some individuals drain your energy without even realizing it. They complain, gossip, or waste time discussing things that add no value to your life. If you spend hours engaging in meaningless conversations, you lose hours that could have been spent on building something better. You do not have to cut everyone off, but you must protect your time and energy. Surround yourself with people who respect your focus, who bring out your discipline, and who encourage progress instead of comfort. It's easier to grow when your environment supports your direction. Another subtle form of distraction comes from trying to do too many things at once. Multitasking feels productive, but it divides your attention and weakens your performance. You may get more tasks done, but each one suffers in quality. The mind can only focus deeply on one thing at a time. To make real progress, you must learn the art of doing one thing well. When you are working, just work. When you are resting, just rest. Simplicity creates power. The more you simplify your focus, the more effective your actions become. Mental distractions are often more damaging than external ones. Worrying about the future, replaying the past, or doubting yourself pulls you away from the present moment. Every time your mind drifts into unnecessary thoughts, your energy scatters. You can regain control through mindfulness. Train your attention to return to what's in front of you. When your mind starts to wander, notice it and gently bring it back. Over time, you will find it easier to stay in the moment, where real productivity happens. Physical clutter also affects your ability to focus. A messy environment creates a messy mind. When your surroundings are filled with unnecessary items, your attention subconsciously fragments. You keep getting small reminders of tasks left undone or objects that need your attention. Cleaning your space is a simple but powerful act of discipline. It signals to your brain that you are in control of your environment. A clear space supports a clear mind, and a clear mind moves with purpose. One of the most dangerous distractions is comparison. When you constantly compare yourself to others, your focus shifts from progress to envy. You start measuring your worth by external standards instead of internal growth. This creates frustration and drains motivation. Everyone's path is different. Your focus must remain on your own improvement, not someone else's results. The energy you spend comparing could be used for learning, creating, and growing. When you stop competing with others and start competing with your previous self, distractions lose their grip. Fatigue can also make you more vulnerable to distraction. When you are tired, your brain looks for easy rewards, entertainment, food, or mindless scrolling. Rest is not laziness, it's maintenance. You cannot perform well with an exhausted mind. Taking care of your body through sleep, hydration, and movement keeps your mental clarity sharp. When you feel strong physically, it becomes easier to resist the pull of distractions. Energy and focus go hand in hand. You cannot sustain one without the other. Eliminating distractions requires discipline, but it also requires purpose. If you don't know what you're working toward, everything will seem worth your time. Clarity gives direction. Set specific goals that remind you why focus matters. When your vision is strong, saying no to distractions becomes easier because you have something more meaningful to say yes to. Purpose turns discipline into a natural choice instead of a struggle. Another technique for removing distractions is creating focus rituals. Rituals are small, repeated actions that signal your mind to enter a state of concentration. It could be sitting in the same spot, putting on headphones, or making a cup of tea before working. These cues train your brain to associate certain actions with focus. Over time, entering deep work becomes automatic. Rituals build consistency, and consistency eliminates chaos. You must also guard against emotional distractions. Emotional turbulence, anger, frustration, or insecurity can pull your attention away from your goals. When emotions take control, productivity fades. The key is emotional regulation. When you feel overwhelmed, pause and breathe. A short moment of stillness can prevent hours of distraction. Emotional control and focus are deeply connected. One strengthens the other. Sometimes, distractions hide behind things that appear productive. Constantly researching, planning, or preparing can feel like progress, but it can also be avoidance. You may convince yourself that you are working hard when in reality, you are delaying action. This is a subtle form of distraction disguised as effort. True progress happens when you execute, not when you endlessly prepare. The perfect time will never come. What matters is consistent movement forward. The people who achieve mastery in any field are those who have learned how to say no to invitations that waste time, no to habits that drain focus, and no to thoughts that weaken their drive. Every no is a yes to something greater. Each time you refuse distraction, you choose growth. You must learn to protect your focus with the same seriousness that others protect their wealth. Focus is your mental capital. Spend it wisely. In time, you begin to notice how quiet focus feels. Life becomes less noisy. You start enjoying the satisfaction of deep work, those hours when your mind is fully engaged and everything else disappears. You begin to understand how much energy you used to waste on things that never mattered. Your productivity improves, but more importantly, your peace increases. You stop rushing, you stop reacting, and you start living intentionally. The process of eliminating distractions never truly ends. As you grow, new challenges will appear to test your focus. But once you experience the power of a clear mind and controlled attention, you will never want to return to chaos. Progress feels lighter, and your confidence grows because you know that your time and energy are finally being directed towards something meaningful. The ability to stay focused is one of the greatest advantages a person can have in today's world. It separates the average from the exceptional. When you remove what slows you down, you give yourself permission to accelerate. You begin to live with purpose, act with intention, and think with clarity. That is how success is built, not through endless effort, but through undivided attention. Every distraction you eliminate becomes a door you open toward your true potential. Chapter 7. Create clear goals that align with your real purpose. Clarity is the foundation of every great achievement. Without a clear direction, even the most talented person will drift aimlessly. You can work hard, stay busy, and still end up nowhere if you don't know what you're truly aiming for. Goals are not just tasks to complete, they are compasses that guide your actions toward your larger purpose. When your goals align with your real purpose, every step you take carries meaning. You stop chasing everything and start focusing on what truly matters to your growth and fulfillment. Many people set goals based on what others expect from them. They choose careers, lifestyles, and ambitions that sound impressive but don't reflect who they really are. They achieve these goals only to feel empty afterward, wondering why success doesn't feel satisfying. This happens because those goals were disconnected from their inner values. Real success is not about reaching random milestones. It's about creating a life that feels right to you. To find that direction, you must start by asking yourself what you genuinely value, not what the world tells you to value. Your purpose is the reason behind your goals. It is what gives your actions depth and your struggles meaning. Without purpose, goals become shallow. They may motivate you for a while, but they cannot sustain you through difficulties. Purpose, on the other hand, creates endurance. When you know why you're doing something, you can push through fatigue, boredom, and doubt. Purpose gives strength to your discipline. It transforms effort from a burden into an act of devotion. To create goals that align with your purpose, begin by reflecting on what truly matters to you. Think about the activities that make you feel alive, the subjects that capture your curiosity, and the problems in the world that move your heart. These are clues to your purpose. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand or dramatic. It simply needs to be meaningful to you. It might be to create, to teach, to heal, to lead, or to improve something around you. Once you understand that, your goals will start to take shape naturally. Clarity comes from simplicity. Too many goals can confuse your focus. Choose fewer but more meaningful ones. Each goal should move you closer to something that aligns with your values and vision. If a goal doesn't connect to your purpose, it becomes a distraction. Setting goals is not about doing more, it's about doing what's necessary. The clearer your goals are, the less energy you waste on indecision. Clarity creates peace because it removes the noise of uncertainty. To make your goals powerful, write them down. Putting your goals into words turns vague desires into concrete intentions. When you see them on paper, your mind starts to treat them as real. It's no longer a dream, it's a direction. Be specific. Instead of saying, "I want to be successful," define what success means to you. Is it financial independence, creative freedom, physical health, or strong relationships? When you describe your goals clearly, your brain begins working toward them subconsciously. It starts recognizing opportunities that align with them. Once you define your goals, break them into smaller, manageable steps. Large goals can feel overwhelming and lead to procrastination. Dividing them into daily or weekly actions makes them achievable. Progress becomes measurable, and each small win builds momentum. Discipline grows when you can see visible results. The satisfaction of completion keeps you motivated. Remember, progress is more important than speed. It's better to move slowly in the right direction than quickly in the wrong one. Goals that align with purpose also require flexibility. Life will never move in a straight line. Circumstances change, and sometimes the path you planned may no longer serve your growth. Flexibility allows you to adjust without losing focus. The destination can remain the same even if the route changes. People who cling too tightly to rigid plans often break under pressure. Those who adapt find new ways to reach their vision. Adaptation is not failure, it's intelligence. Purpose-driven goals feel different from ordinary ones. They carry emotion. They excite you, but they also scare you a little. They stretch your comfort zone. When you pursue them, you feel a sense of meaning, even when the work is difficult. This is how you know you're on the right path, when effort feels valuable, not wasted. Ordinary goals chase comfort. Purpose-driven goals build character. One makes life easier, the other makes life fuller. You must also learn to differentiate between internal and external goals. External goals are things like money, recognition, and status. Internal goals involve growth, knowledge, contribution, and peace. There's nothing wrong with wanting both, but internal goals should come first. External success is unstable. It depends on circumstances you can't always control. Internal growth, however, stays with you forever. When your goals are based on who you want to become, not just what you want to have, your progress becomes sustainable. Accountability strengthens goals. When you share your vision with someone who supports you, it creates positive pressure to stay consistent. But the most powerful accountability comes from within. You must reach a point where you no longer need external reminders because your purpose drives you naturally. When your goals are deeply personal, you don't rely on motivation, you rely on meaning. Meaning lasts longer than emotion. It becomes a part of who you are. Distractions will always try to pull you away from your purpose. When that happens, remind yourself why you started. Read your goals again. Visualize the person you're becoming through this process. Purpose gives perspective. It keeps you grounded during setbacks and humble during success. It reminds you that growth is not about perfection but direction. Every challenge you face while pursuing your goals strengthens your purpose. It refines your character and teaches you patience. You should also review your goals regularly. Reflection helps you stay aligned. Sometimes we outgrow certain goals as we evolve. What mattered 5 years ago may not matter today. That's not failure, it's maturity. Revisiting your goals ensures that your time and energy are being spent wisely. Ask yourself, does this still reflect who I am and what I want to create? If not, adjust your path. Life changes, and so do we. The ability to realign keeps you true to your purpose. Your goals should also bring balance, not burnout. Working towards something meaningful does not mean neglecting your health or peace. Sustainable growth requires rest and self-care. You can't pour energy into your goals if you're constantly drained. Discipline and recovery must coexist. The stronger your foundation of well-being, the more energy you can devote to what matters. Protect your balance as fiercely as your ambition. Another key to maintaining clarity is to avoid comparison. When you compare your goals to someone else's progress, you create confusion. You might abandon your own path just because it doesn't look like theirs. But your purpose is unique. You were not meant to follow the same timeline as anyone else. Comparison distracts you from the satisfaction of your own journey. The only person you need to compete with is the one you were yesterday. Clarity in goals also brings emotional peace. You no longer wake up unsure of what to do. You don't feel scattered or directionless. Every action connects to something larger, and that gives your life rhythm. Even challenges feel purposeful because you know they are part of the process. You start to see each day as progress towards something meaningful. That awareness makes your work more fulfilling and your decisions more confident. To live with purpose is to live with intention. You no longer act out of habit or impulse, you act from awareness. Every goal becomes a reflection of your deepest values. You stop asking, what do I want to achieve? And start asking, who do I want to become? This shift changes everything. It turns your life from a series of random events into a conscious creation. When you create goals that align with your real purpose, your life gains focus, energy, and direction. You stop running after every opportunity and start moving deliberately toward what truly belongs to you. You work not just for success but for fulfillment. Each day becomes meaningful because it contributes to something that resonates with your heart. That is what real alignment feels like. Not a rush of excitement, but a steady sense of certainty. It is knowing that your path, your effort, and your purpose all point in the same direction. In the end, the most powerful life is the one lived with clarity. When your goals reflect your true purpose, you don't waste time, you don't chase approval, and you don't drift. You live deliberately. You create instead of react. You progress instead of repeat. That is the beauty of alignment. It transforms your journey into something peaceful, powerful, and deeply fulfilling. Chapter 8. Commit to consistent action that builds lasting self-confidence. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you build. It grows from the choices you make, the habits you keep, and the promises you keep to yourself. Many people believe that confidence comes from success, but the truth is, the opposite confidence creates success. The more consistent you are with your actions, the stronger your belief in yourself becomes. Self-confidence is not built through words or wishes. It is built through daily proof that you can depend on yourself to act, no matter how you feel. Consistent action is the foundation of confidence because it eliminates doubt. When you act regularly toward your goals, you remove uncertainty about your abilities. You don't have to convince yourself you're capable, you see it in your results. Each small accomplishment tells your mind, I can do this. Over time, those small wins form an unshakable belief in your ability to handle challenges. This belief cannot be faked or forced. It grows naturally from discipline and persistence. The reason many people lack confidence is that they break too many promises to themselves. They say they'll wake up early, start that project, or take care of their health, but they don't follow through. Each time that happens, self-trust weakens. The mind learns not to take your words seriously. But when you start doing what you said you would do, even in the smallest things, your inner voice begins to change. You start believing yourself again. Consistency repairs the relationship you have with yourself. Once that relationship is strong, confidence follows. You cannot wait to feel confident before taking action. Confidence does not precede action, it follows it. Waiting for the right moment, the right mood, or the right level of readiness is how most people stay stuck. You must move first, even when you feel uncertain. Every time you act in spite of fear, you prove that your courage is stronger than your hesitation. Confidence is built through experience, not theory. The more you do, the less fear controls you. Consistency is powerful because it turns effort into habit. Habits remove the need for constant motivation. When your actions become automatic, progress becomes natural. For example, if you commit to improving a skill every day, you don't need to think about whether you feel like doing it, you simply do it. Over time, that habit shapes your identity. You stop saying, "I want to be confident," and start thinking, "I am someone who keeps moving forward." Confidence is not an emotion, it is an identity built from repetition. Many people overestimate what they can do in a short time and underestimate what they can do in the long run. Consistent action might feel slow at first, but it builds lasting results. A person who improves 1% each day becomes 37 times better after a year. Progress may not always be visible immediately, but it accumulates. The more you stay consistent, the more momentum you build, and that momentum becomes your greatest advantage. You can think of confidence as a muscle. The more you train it through action, the stronger it becomes. Just as you wouldn't expect physical strength after one workout, you shouldn't expect confidence after one victory. It grows through repetition. Every challenge faced, every task completed, every effort made when it's difficult, these moments compound. They build resilience, and resilience is the root of self-belief. To build lasting confidence, you must also stop chasing perfection. Many people hesitate to act because they fear doing something wrong. They wait until everything is flawless before starting, but that moment never comes. Perfectionism is another form of procrastination disguised as high standards. The truth is that progress matters more than perfection. Each imperfect step teaches you something. Confidence comes from learning through action, not waiting for ideal conditions. Another key to building confidence is consistency in self-discipline. When you have control over your impulses, you gain control over your life. Discipline is the ability to do what is necessary even when you don't feel like it. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, your confidence strengthens because you prove that your willpower is stronger than your excuses. You start to realize that you can trust yourself to act with intention instead of emotion. That realization brings calmness, focus, and assurance. Your environment also plays a major role in consistency. Surround yourself with people and situations that support your growth. When you spend time with those who take their goals seriously, their habits influence you. Likewise, being around people who constantly complain, waste time, or discourage effort can weaken your drive. Protect your focus by creating spaces that inspire action. A supportive environment reduces friction, making consistency easier and confidence more natural. One of the most powerful ways to maintain consistency is through routine. When you structure your day with purpose, you eliminate confusion. A routine gives direction to your energy. It prevents you from wasting time on indecision or distraction. For example, Dedicating a specific time each day for self-improvement or personal goals trains your mind to expect progress. Over time, this rhythm creates stability, and stability builds confidence because your days become predictable, focused, and intentional. Confidence is not built only through success, it is built through endurance. Failure, when faced with persistence, becomes fuel for growth. Every time you recover from a setback, your belief in yourself deepens. You learn that you can survive disappointment and still move forward. That experience creates unshakable strength. People who avoid failure often avoid confidence because they never test their resilience. Facing challenges with courage transforms uncertainty into assurance. Consistency also teaches patience. Many people quit because they expect results too quickly. They mistake slow progress for no progress. But confidence is not built in moments, it is built in seasons. You must give yourself time to evolve. True confidence does not come from instant gratification. It comes from enduring the process. When you stay consistent through both highs and lows, your inner foundation solidifies. You stop depending on quick wins and start trusting in steady growth. Building self-confidence also means managing your self-talk. The words you use toward yourself influence your behavior. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not good enough, your actions will reflect that belief. If you remind yourself that you are capable of learning, improving, and adapting, your actions will follow that direction. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you believe in. Encouraging words fuel consistent effort. You must also celebrate progress, no matter how small. Recognizing your efforts reinforces your commitment. Many people move from one goal to another without appreciating what they've already achieved. That creates a feeling of inadequacy, no matter how much progress they make. Taking a moment to acknowledge your improvement reminds you that your hard work is paying off. This habit strengthens motivation and makes consistency enjoyable instead of exhausting. To sustain confidence, your actions must align with your values. When your daily behavior reflects what you truly believe, you feel authentic. Confidence fades when you act against your principles, because deep down, you know you are being false. Integrity fuels lasting self-esteem. When you honor your own standards, you don't need external validation. Your peace comes from knowing that you are living in alignment with your truth. Consistency also requires emotional control. There will be days when you feel unmotivated, discouraged, or impatient. In those moments, remind yourself that feelings are temporary, but habits are permanent. You don't have to feel good to keep going, you just have to stay committed. Acting through discomfort builds emotional strength. Once you learn to keep moving, even when it's hard, you become unstoppable. It's also important to remember that confidence is not arrogance. True confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to prove or display itself because it is rooted in inner security. When you are consistent with your actions, you don't need to boast about your progress. The results speak for you. Arrogance seeks attention. Confidence seeks growth. The more consistent you are, the less you rely on validation from others. In time, consistent action transforms how you see yourself. You begin to view challenges as opportunities, not obstacles. You stop doubting your abilities because you have seen what you're capable of through effort and repetition. You develop a calm certainty that no matter what happens, you can handle it. That certainty is the essence of confidence, not loudness, not pride, but quiet strength that comes from daily effort. When you commit to consistency, you change your identity. You stop saying, "I'm trying," and start saying, "I'm and becoming." You realize that every action, no matter how small, is shaping your future. Each choice builds a layer of confidence that cannot be taken away. Inconsistency creates doubt. Consistency builds faith in yourself. The truth is simple. Confidence is built, not given. It comes from showing up day after day, doing the work, learning, failing, improving, and never quitting. When you live with consistent effort, you no longer need to fake confidence. It becomes who you are. You walk with assurance not because life is easy, but because you know you've earned your strength through discipline and persistence. That is lasting self-confidence, the kind that stays with you no matter where life takes you. Chapter 9. Measure your progress daily and adjust your mindset accordingly. Growth is not something that happens by accident. It is something you measure, track, and adjust with intention. Many people work hard but never stop to evaluate whether their efforts are moving them in the right direction. They mistake motion for progress, effort for effectiveness. True development requires reflection. Measuring your progress daily gives you clarity. It helps you see what's working, what's not, and where you need to adjust. Without measurement, improvement becomes guesswork. But when you observe your growth deliberately, every day becomes an opportunity to refine your path and strengthen your mindset. The most successful people in any field, whether in business, health, or personal growth, understand the importance of tracking their actions. They don't just rely on memory or feeling. They keep records, they analyze patterns, and they use that awareness to grow faster. When you measure your progress, you create accountability. You can no longer hide behind excuses or assumptions. You see reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. That honesty might be uncomfortable at first, but it's the only way to move forward with accuracy and confidence. Measurement begins with clarity. You must know what you are measuring and why it matters. It could be your physical fitness, your financial growth, your daily habits, or your emotional resilience. Whatever area you're working on, define it clearly. If your goal is vague, your progress will be invisible. Instead of saying, "I want to get better," say, "I want to read 10 pages every day," or "I want to save a certain amount of money this month." The more specific your standard, the easier it becomes to track it. Precision gives direction, and direction transforms effort into results. Daily measurement keeps your goals alive. When you review your progress regularly, your purpose stays fresh in your mind. You stay connected to your mission instead of drifting away from it. It's easy to lose focus when you don't check your results frequently. Days turn into weeks, and before you realize it, you've strayed far from your original intention. Measuring daily acts as a reset, a button. It reminds you where you stand and where you want to go. One of the biggest advantages of tracking your growth is that it reveals patterns. You start to notice when you are at your best, what triggers your setbacks, and which habits have the strongest impact. For example, you may discover that your energy peaks in the morning, or that distractions increase when you skip rest. This awareness allows you to make smarter adjustments. Instead of forcing progress blindly, you tailor your actions to your reality. Growth becomes efficient instead of exhausting. Measuring progress also protects you from discouragement. Without tracking, you might feel like you're not improving, even when you are. Human perception is biased. We often underestimate our progress because we focus on what's missing instead of what's growing. Keeping a daily record shows you proof of your development. It reminds you that change is happening, even if it's slow. Seeing evidence of your effort renews your motivation and keeps you consistent. The act of measuring itself builds discipline. It requires self-awareness and honesty. It teaches you to face the truth without fear. When you review your progress, you confront both your strengths and your weaknesses. You learn to celebrate small wins instead of waiting for perfection. You also learn to accept your mistakes without guilt, using them as data for improvement. This mindset shift is powerful. It turns failure into feedback and disappointment into strategy. Adjusting your mindset daily is just as important as tracking your progress. Life changes constantly, and your thoughts must evolve with it. A fixed mindset makes you rigid, while a flexible mindset keeps you adaptable. Each day brings new lessons, and reflection allows you to apply them. Ask yourself what worked today, what didn't, and what can be done better tomorrow. This simple habit transforms ordinary days into stepping stones toward mastery. When you measure and adjust regularly, you stop being reactive and start being intentional. Instead of letting circumstances control your progress, you take charge of it. You no longer say, "I had a bad day," without understanding why. You analyze it, learn from it, and plan how to prevent it from happening again. This proactive approach builds emotional stability. You feel in control because you understand that setbacks are not signs of failure, they are information. To make daily measurement effective, keep it simple. You don't need complex tools or charts. A small notebook, a journal, or even a few notes on your phone are enough. The goal is consistency, not perfection. Record key areas of your growth each day: what you accomplished, how you felt, what you learned, and what you'll do differently tomorrow. Over time, these small reflections turn into a personal guidebook that shows your evolution. You can measure your progress through both quantitative and qualitative methods. Quantitative measures involve numbers: how many hours you worked, how many tasks you completed, or how much you improved in a measurable skill. Qualitative measures involve feelings and insights: how you handled stress, how focused you felt, how you responded to challenges. Combining both gives a full picture of your progress. It shows not just what you achieved, but who you are becoming. Adjusting your mindset is about responding to reality with wisdom. Some days will go smoothly, others will not. The purpose of adjustment is not to judge yourself harshly, but to remain aligned with your goals. If something didn't work, look for the lesson. If something succeeded, identify why. Both success and failure are valuable only when you learn from them. A growth mindset sees every outcome as feedback, not a final verdict. This mindset keeps your confidence steady and your motivation alive. It's also important to track not only actions but also thoughts. Many times, it's not the external circumstances that slow progress, but the internal beliefs you carry. Writing down your thoughts helps you recognize patterns of doubt, fear, or negativity. Once you see them, you can replace them with more constructive beliefs. Adjusting your mindset means choosing thoughts that empower action rather than weaken it. You are not your thoughts, you are the one who directs them. Daily evaluation teaches humility and patience. Growth is rarely linear. Some days will show visible progress, while others may feel stagnant. Measuring your efforts reminds you that slow days are still part of the process. It helps you see that consistency matters more than perfection. You realize that success is not a straight climb, it's a series of rises and falls that, over time, move you upward. Mindset adjustment also means practicing gratitude. When you measure your day, take note of what went well. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's improving. It trains your brain to recognize progress instead of problems. A grateful mindset strengthens perseverance because it keeps you aware of how far you've already come. People who appreciate their small wins find it easier to stay consistent through big challenges. Another important part of progress measurement is celebrating completion. Finishing what you start creates momentum. When you check off a task, no matter how small, your brain releases a sense of satisfaction. That feeling encourages you to keep going. Progress thrives on recognition. Don't wait for monumental success to celebrate, acknowledge every bit of effort. Confidence grows from seeing proof that you are moving forward, even in small steps. You can also use reflection time to realign your priorities. Sometimes you'll discover that what once mattered no longer feels meaningful. That's normal. Growth means evolution. Adjusting your mindset daily ensures you don't waste time chasing goals that no longer serve your purpose. It helps you stay connected to your present truth. Alignment brings peace, while misalignment causes burnout. Checking in with yourself regularly prevents that drift. Tracking progress also builds integrity. When you hold yourself accountable daily, you stop making excuses. You become honest about what you did and didn't do. This honesty might feel uncomfortable, but it strengthens character. You stop blaming circumstances and start taking ownership of results. Each day becomes a mirror reflecting your habits, discipline, and mindset. Facing that reflection is what turns effort into wisdom. Over time, measuring your progress daily becomes more than just a habit. It becomes a lifestyle of awareness. You live consciously instead of automatically. You notice your thoughts, your choices, and your outcomes. This level of attention brings control and peace. You no longer feel lost because you know exactly where you stand and what needs to improve. Growth stops being accidental. It becomes deliberate. The combination of daily measurement and mindset adjustment turns ordinary people into leaders of their own lives. It's not about perfection or speed, it's about awareness, accountability, and evolution. When you know where you are and where you want to go, you can always find the way forward. Measuring your progress each day builds confidence, and adjusting your mindset keeps you humble, focused, and ready to grow. Together, they create a rhythm of continuous improvement that transforms not just what you do, but who you become. Chapter 10. Believe in your ability to design your best life. Everything begins with belief. Before any dream becomes real, before any change takes shape, it must first exist in your mind as a possibility. If you cannot believe that you can design your best life, no amount of knowledge or opportunity will make it happen. Belief is the foundation upon which every action, every habit, and every transformation is built. It gives direction to your effort and meaning to your struggle. Without it, your energy scatters. With it, your focus sharpens and your purpose strengthens. Believing in yourself is not about arrogance or false confidence. It is about recognizing that you hold the power to shape your life through your decisions, mindset, and persistence. Every person carries within them the potential to create something meaningful, yet most people never access that potential because they doubt their ability to do so. They convince themselves that success is meant for others, that circumstances define destiny, or that life happens to them instead of through them. These beliefs become self-imposed limits. You cannot build a great life from a mindset that expects failure. The truth is simple but profound. Your life responds to your level of belief. If you believe that change is possible, your mind begins finding ways to make it real. If you believe it's impossible, your mind shuts down before you even begin. Belief is a choice, not a feeling. You choose it long before you see results. You choose it when you are tired, when things go wrong, and when doubt creeps in. You choose to trust your ability to improve even when progress feels invisible. This trust is what separates those who build their best life from those who remain stuck in fear. You do not need to know exactly how everything will unfold. You just need to believe that you are capable of figuring it out, step by step. That belief creates movement, and movement creates opportunity. Designing your best life starts with taking ownership. You cannot design anything that you refuse to claim. Taking ownership means accepting full responsibility for your thoughts, emotions, and outcomes. It means stopping the habit of blaming others, luck, or the past. When you accept responsibility, you realize that your future is not determined by where you started, but by what you do next. Life is not something you wait for, it is something you create with intention and discipline. The idea of designing your life means you are the architect of your days. Every decision you make either moves you closer to the life you want or further away from it. The way you spend your mornings, the thoughts you allow in your mind, the people you keep around you, All of these are design choices. The more intentional you become, the more control you have. You begin shaping your environment instead of being shaped by it. Designing your best life is not about controlling everything. It's about directing what you can and adapting to what you cannot. Belief grows stronger through evidence. When you start taking small, consistent actions, you create proof that you are capable. Every promise you keep, every goal you achieve, every challenge you overcome strengthens that belief. It becomes a cycle. Belief fuels action, action builds confidence, and confidence deepens belief. You don't have to believe fully from the start. You just have to believe enough to begin. The rest develops through experience. To design your best life, you must first define what best means to you. Too many people live according to someone else's version of success. They chase achievements that look good on the outside, but feel empty on the inside. Designing your life means aligning your choices with your values. Ask yourself what kind of life would make you proud, what kind of work feels meaningful, and what kind of person you want to become. The answers to these questions will guide your direction. Your best life is the one that feels right for you, not the one that impresses others. Once you know your vision, break it down into practical steps. Dreams become reality through structure. You cannot just wish for a better life, you must plan it and act on it. Create systems that support your growth. Build routines that strengthen your discipline. Replace old habits with actions that match the person you want to become. A well-designed life is the result of deliberate daily effort. It's not built overnight, but it grows steadily with intention. Believing in your ability also means believing that setbacks are part of the process. Every worthwhile journey will test your resilience. There will be moments when progress stalls, when results seem distant, and when fear whispers that you are wasting your time. These are the moments that shape your character. When you push through resistance, your belief evolves from hope into certainty. You stop seeing obstacles as signs to quit and start viewing them as opportunities to grow stronger. Doubt will always appear when you are reaching for more. That is normal. The key is not to let doubt lead your decisions. When self-doubt arises, remind yourself of what you have already overcome. Look at the evidence of your effort, not the noise of your fear. Your mind believes what you feed it. If you constantly focus on your limitations, they expand. If you focus on your capabilities, they strengthen. Belief is not built by ignoring reality, it's built by focusing on what can be improved instead of what cannot. Designing your life also means managing your inner dialogue. The words you speak to yourself become the foundation of your reality. If your internal language is full of defeat, your actions will mirror it. Start speaking to yourself as a capable and responsible creator, not as a victim of circumstance. Replace "I can't" with "I'm learning how." Replace "I'm not ready" with "I'm preparing." Over time, this change in language rewires your self-image. You begin to act in alignment with the person you describe yourself as. A powerful belief system is built through repetition. Every day, remind yourself of your vision. Visualize the life you are creating. Picture yourself living with purpose, discipline, and peace. This practice strengthens your focus. It helps you move through distraction and discouragement. The more vividly you imagine in your desired life, the more motivated you become to take action toward it. Visualization is not fantasy, it is mental preparation. You are training your brain to recognize the opportunities that align with your design. To believe in your ability to design your life, you must also practice patience. The results of your work may take time to appear. That does not mean nothing is happening. Growth often begins beneath the surface, invisible to the eye but powerful in effect. Just as seeds take time to sprout, your actions take time to show results. Patience is not waiting passively, it is continuing to act with faith. Each day of effort adds another layer to your future. Surround yourself with environments and people that reinforce your belief. The energy around you matters. If you spend time with those who doubt everything, their doubt will infect your thinking. Seek out people who encourage growth, who talk about ideas instead of problems, and who remind you of your potential. A strong belief system thrives in a supportive environment. You do not have to do everything alone, but you must be careful about who influences your mindset. When you truly believe that you can design your best life, you stop settling for less than you are capable of. You stop tolerating habits that drain your energy and relationships that pull you backward. Belief gives you courage to walk away from what no longer fits your purpose. It teaches you that peace and progress often require saying no. Your life begins to simplify, and in that simplicity, clarity appears. You realize that you are not chasing perfection, you are creating balance. The greatest gift of belief is freedom. When you trust in your ability to create, you no longer feel trapped by circumstance. You see challenges as temporary, not permanent. You stop waiting for luck or approval because you understand that your future is built, not given. This realization brings confidence, not the loud kind that seeks attention, but the quiet kind that radiates assurance. You carry yourself differently because you know your power doesn't depend on anyone else's permission. Each day becomes a blank page where you design a piece of your life. Every thought, action, and decision contributes to the structure you are building. Some days will bring progress, others will bring lessons, but all of them move you forward if you stay intentional. Belief transforms ordinary days into opportunities. It turns routine into purpose and persistence into progress. Your best life is not a distant dream. It is the result of daily design. It begins the moment you decide to take full ownership of your direction. You already have everything you need to start: the ability to think, to act, to learn, and to choose. The world will not hand you the life you want, but it will respond to the one you build. When you believe in your ability to design it, you begin to live as the creator of your destiny, not a passenger of the circumstance. That belief, once rooted deeply, changes everything. It gives you the courage to dream, the discipline to act, and the strength to build a life that feels truly your own.